And we are back. Unofficial commentators back at you again after rivalry week. Obviously,
whoa. You know what? I've always wanted to do the intro. Can I do it today?
yeah, go ahead, man. Go right ahead, bro.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Unofficial Commentators. On this corner, we have the round mound of pounds, JJ, all the way from Brooklyn, New York. And in the other corner, we have the bearded blunder, the man with the plan, Daphne Nalgancha.
All right, that's fucked up, bro. That's fucked up, bro. That's not cool. That's not cool. I'm out of here.
You're not going anywhere.
Fuck this shit. I ain't going nowhere. It's tough rivalry week for me, man.
Hell of a week.
It was tough.
Hell of a week, man. Woo.
It was not a hell of a week. It was a fucked up week.
How was that weekend?
Fucking
though?
Monday Night Football. Bullshit.
How was that weekend, man?
What are you talking about, man? Just leave me alone, man.
The Raiders won.
Yeah, so fuck. I lost to fucking Vasquez, man. All the shit that I talked went to nothing.
I mean, what
It's
else is new?
garbage.
It's not like you haven't lost to him before.
That's what pisses me off the most. That I keep losing to him every fucking year, man.
It was all good 24 hours ago. Man, on Monday, you got a bitter surprise. After you had said, oh, the Raiders want to put me back in the group. I'm ready to join the chat. You joined the chat. You promised Joel Vasquez all the wonderful things you're going to do to him, even with Chris Carson out. I'm going to beat you with a big fat 0. And you lost by 2.
I mean, it's fucked up because I had the Chris Carson thing, which is my fault. It's not an excuse. They announced it an hour earlier that he wasn't going to play after he practiced all week, and I didn't get in on time, so that's my fault. It's not an excuse. And then, of course, Pat Mahomes showed up the second half, but all the passes were to fucking Travis Kelce. It's ridiculous, man. Jesus.
Yeah. Cheers to you. All right, so let's get into some fantasy football, man, because we've had to postpone our recording usual time, and we kind of have the clock against us. So a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible. So first things first, we're going to jump into the pick'em. Paki, you got 2 correct picks this week out of 7. I got 3 correct picks out of 7.
Holy shit, did we fuck up?
Yes, we did.
Oh, my
people
goodness.
are starting to believe that there really is a curse of the unofficial commentators. Anyway, I told you that
Screw
the
them.
difference was going to be the matchup between Omar and Cousin Juan. Cousin Juan won that. I picked him. So that brings us even to 11 apiece after week 4. We both have 11 correct picks. All right.
I guess we're tied.
Good.
Couldn't be any better.
Good. All right. I was thinking that maybe the challenge should be to record like a song in karaoke dedicated to the other one after we were serenading each other over in the clubs of Philly. Yeah, shout out to Philly. I was there over the weekend. That was fun.
Yeah, man, we had a great time. The only thing that ruined the weekend was the fucking matchup on Monday. But, yeah, we did have a good time on Philly, man. I'm glad you liked it. I love Philadelphia, bro. It's an awesome city.
I do not know what the fuck planet you live on where Monday's part of the weekend. Monday is the new week. Any fucking way.
Monday ruined my weekend, bro, because to me, it's still fantasy football weekend, right? So I don't give a fuck. That shit ruined my fucking week.
Welcome to the real world. Monday ruins everybody's weekend.
Shut fucking bullshit, man.
All right. This week's high scorer is Eat at Gordo Sandwich, formerly known as Mr. Keiko Jones. He scored 151.42 points.
Nice.
The low score of the week. Wow, how the mighty have fallen. Still in first place. Actually, I think he's in second place. Jin and Druce only managed to compile 100.68 points.
I'll give a shout out to the Big Blue Legendaros for not being the lowest score.
The biggest blowout of the week is, whoa, look at this now. Fuba changed his name. Now Fuba goes by In Golf We Trust. He
Oh shit!
he was the one that took down Jin and Drews, who we both picked, by the way, by a astounding number of 49.72 fantasy points. Now, this one's gonna hurt. This one's gonna. You know what? Let me save it. Let me save it. Before I get to the Chepa Award, La Chepa, we're gonna do the best fantasy performer. The best fantasy performer was actually Mitchell. Don't call me Mitch Trubisky. He scored 43.46 fantasy points. However, he's not currently owned by anyone, and I don't know if it makes sense to own him because, as we'll talk about later on, Chicago is on a bye week, so not sure what the hell the point is to pick him up. The next leading scorer or fantasy performer was Jared Goff. He was followed closely by Alvin Kamara. I believe 2 points separated the two. La Chepa of the week. La Chepa usually goes to the team that would have lost to a whole bunch of other teams had he played any of the other teams, but he managed to play the one team that he was able to outscore. That being said, La Chepa of the week happened to be the team that was losing for the larger part of the weekend, only to come back and win by 2.64 fantasy points. You know who that is, huh, Paki?
Why are you mad?
Hold my pocket. Defeated Daphne Nalgancha and proved that once again he is superior to him in fantasy.
Yeah, I swear to God, man, you call me that shit one more time, and shit's gonna break loose in this shit, man. Fucking pissed as fuck.
I mean, with a culo ancho, I'm surprised shit hasn't already broken loose in this shit.
It's ridiculous, man. It's retarded, bro.
It was a busy week of trades. Keenan Allen, Corey Clement, and James White all found a new team. They now belong to Hunt for the Wilder Cup. He traded to El Perro del Llano, who now renamed his team G. Thanks. That's fun.
I'm not even paying attention to you anymore, man. I'm pissed as fuck. You calling me Daphne and shit? Everybody's gonna start calling me this shit? The fuck?
El Perro del Llano is now the proud owner of Will Fuller, Geronimo Allison, and Giovanni Bernard. At least I can say that Fuller and Bernard made an immediate impact. They scored more than they scored in the last 2 weeks combined. El Perro del Llano finally notches one on the win column. Demarius Thomas, I got tired of waiting on him. Royce Freeman and Devontae Freeman, the Freeman brothers, not technically related, were traded to the Big Blue Legendaros. In exchange, I got back Jordan Howard and Keelan Cole, who netted the Luck Dynasty less than 5 fantasy points.
Nice.
Yeah, right? Nice.
Nice, yeah.
Okay, this would have been the place.
I don't want to talk about last week anymore, bro. Can we please move on?
Yes, this is the place
Okay.
where I would have asked you for your recommendations on waivers had we recorded on Tuesday, and it would have made sense. But right now, it's irrelevant. Everyone already picked up their waivers. But hey, some games are going to be happening tomorrow. Some games are going to be happening on Sunday and even on Monday. And you love Mondays. And there's still some positions that need to be filled. Again, considering that the Bears and the Bucks, two teams that have a lot of substantial players in most fantasy teams. So is there anyone, maybe not in this league, maybe just low ownership, that you would recommend that people run and go pick up?
I mean, run and go pick up, that's the thing. I mean, I cannot be specific to all leagues because we have a 14 team. So we have a very much more depleted waiver wire. So I'm sure there's a bunch of guys that a lot of people are picking up right now, like Corey Davis from Tennessee. I picked him up in a couple of my leagues. Obviously, he's not going to be available in our league. But Corey Davis looked really good against the Eagles. He was killing Jordan Mills is his name? Jalen Mills, the Eagles cornerback. Dude, I like the connection he has with Mariota. He was a first-round pick last year in the real draft. Sorry about that. So he's somebody that I run and pick up.
Remember that thing you used to say that the good cornerbacks are the ones that nobody knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there must be some like Class A cornerbacks this year. I barely know any of them.
Well, you gotta see the games, man. I mean,
I'll watch one game, you know.
And it's not the ones that you don't know because you do know the good ones. It's the ones that never show up on camera. That's the saying. So when you're watching a game, the cornerback that never gets any camera time, that's the cornerback that's doing a good job.
Holy shit! Now ghosts are defending wide receivers. That's crazy.
Now what?
You got ghosts defending wide receivers.
Well, bro, they don't close him up. They don't talk about him. But you know who's a good pickup? CJ Uzomah would
Got
be
him.
the Bengals tight end after Tyler Eifert going down. I picked him up in a couple of leagues as well. Might as well take a flyer with him and see what happens.
I heard the name Tyler Eifert pronounced Eifert, and now you call him Effort. Does anyone know how to pronounce his name?
Tyler Eifert. I'll go with that, but it's fine. Whatever you want, bro.
All right. We'll go with that. All right. So let me just mention some of the names that people were running to go get over, I guess, the waiver period. You tell me what you think about these guys. Do they have long-lasting power? Are they just a product of what happened last week? So if you didn't own him already, a lot of people ran over to pick up Aaron Jones. What do you think of Aaron Jones? Does he have long-lasting value, or was it just the fact that he played against the Buffalo Bills?
I don't like the backfield in Green Bay, but he is supposed to be the starter. So he was just Jason Williams was just holding on for him to get back. Now Aaron Jones is back. They're giving him most of the carries, but again, they got also Ty Montgomery in the mix. Green Bay likes to pass a lot. They're not a run-first offense. So, I mean, he will have some good weeks, but he's definitely not a consistent contributor, man.
I'll just say that since I've been playing fantasy in 2011, I've never seen a running back for the Green Bay Packers end the season as a top 15 running back.
The last one was Ryan Grant when he ran for 1,000 yards and like 12 touchdowns. I don't remember what year it was, but I believe it was close to that time when Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl because he was on that Super Bowl team.
Ryan Grant, or is it James Grant?
No, Ryan Grant.
I don't even know the name. All right, another player that people ran to pick up was Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb.
Oh, shit.
He finally showed up, but it was against the Raiders, and you've been adamant here about how bad the Raiders' defense is. So should people run and pick up Nick Chubb's?
I mean, the guy, whenever they give him the ball, he's making plays, but he's not getting the ball that much. It's the Carlos Hyde show. I would pick him up because I think Nick Chubb would be a beast if something happens to Carlos Hyde. So we don't know that. That's a great guy to handcuff or keep there, just stash. But right now he's getting 3 to 5 touches a game, bro. So, I mean, he's making the best out of them. But, again, consistency is question.
So you're saying pick him up but don't start him. Keep him as a hang.
Yeah, I would have started him. Especially this week against Baltimore, I believe Cleveland's playing. Baltimore's defense is nice. I would have started him. But I would stash him.
All right, here's an interesting name. Kiki Cutie. Cutie?
Depends how serious is Will Fuller's injury. That's all it is. After Will Fuller went down, that's when he started balling out. So it all depends on how serious is Will Fuller's injury. That's all I can say.
You mentioned CJ Uzomah. Mohamed Sanu has not had a wide receiver 2 type of season, but at least he's getting some kind of consistent fantasy play.
What?
Would you pick up Mohamed Sanu?
You think Mohamed Sanu is a wide receiver too in Atlanta?
He came into the season that way. He has not.
No. But right now.
But at the
you think he's the second wide receiver?
No. This is what I'm saying. He's not having a wide receiver 2 type of year.
Because he's not a wide receiver 2.
But with so many wide receivers putting up points in the sub 5, you're getting receivers with like 4 points, 2 points, and such. Mohamed Sanu at least puts up 7 every week. Is he worth picking up?
It depends how depleted you are at wide receiver, bro. But that's the Calvin Ridley show. That's the Alabama wide receiver show over there in Atlanta. They're showing love to their South, bro. Calvin Ridley is the number 2, probably the number 1 right now. He's caught more touchdowns in 2 games than Julio Jones has done in 2 years. So go figure. And I believe you have him, right?
Who do I have?
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin, I do not. That belongs to our super producer, Dagoberto.
Oh, I thought you had him. Dude, he's a beast, man.
No. I dropped Earl Thomas, who broke his leg, is going to be on IR, so done for this season. And I picked up CJ Uzomah, who comes in for another broken leg, Tyler. We decided on Eifert?
Whatever you want, bro. Tyler, the Bengal.
Oh, there's like 4 Tylers on the Bengals. There's this.
The Fighting Irish. Tyler, the Fighting Irish on the Bengals.
There's Eford, there's Boyd, there's another tight end.
All right, man. Just Tyler Eford. Let's go with Eford.
Let's go with Eford. All right, so Uzomwa. Given the fact that I lost Earl Thomas, what do you think of Uzomwa? You said pick him up, right?
Yeah, again, I mean, he's a pickup because he's going to be on the field all game. But we don't know how they're going to use him. So it is a question mark. But I'm a guy that likes to pick guys that will get time on the playing field. So if you're on the field, if you're getting snaps, if you're getting consideration to be on the field, I think you're worthy of having a fantasy ad because any given Sunday, you could just blow up. Or any given Thursday. Or any given Monday.
Tight ends are just so thin.
I know, but Andy Dalton, I mean, he doesn't have that great of an arm. So let's see the rapport he builds with his tight end because he does go to the tight ends because he's weak.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, a lot of tight ends out. Some out for the season. Some out for maybe longer. I'm going to skip the injury segment. We'll just talk about that when we talk about the matchups. And without further ado, matchups.
Dun, dun, dun.
Can we put like the word matchups? Can I drag it out with my hand like this? Yeah. Can we just matchups?
I wish I had a piece of paper. I would have done that shit manually right now.
So the first matchup we're going to be talking about is Luck Dynasty versus Luck Dynasty. That has some. That's some mean implications.
Why would they do that?
Those are some mean implications.
Shit. But why is he copying your name?
Oh, that's what he does now. Last week, Cousin Juan, so loyal, changed his name to Bless These, and he won. I guess you ride the hot hand. That's what you do.
All right, cool.
So, am I going to win this week?
Are you going to win? Let me see. Yahoo says you should be the favorite, and you're 1-3. You haven't had a very good time, but let's see. We got Andrew Luck against New Orleans. I think he would give. When I say New Orleans, New England. I'm sorry. Versus New England, he should have a good week. Did you say something?
Yes, he's playing against New England on Thursday. It's going to be a short week. We already heard Marlon Mack is out. T.Y. Hilton is out.
Mm-hmm.
T.Y. Hilton actually belongs to Luck Dynasty, so he still has him there, and he's still projecting points. So you should probably count on having about 10 fantasy points less on that side. But go ahead.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I think he might still show up because, it might be a quarterback matchup with Tom Brady, but I don't know. Let's see. Like you said, who knows? But I know Tyreek Hill is going to be interesting to watch versus Jacksonville. Let's see if Kansas City really is matchup proof. Every player on Kansas City right now is going to be on the watch versus Jacksonville, so that's going to be interesting. I see you got Corey Davis. I love Corey Davis. Buffalo's defense is not as good as some people might think because of their game the other day when they shut down Minnesota. So I like Corey Davis a lot. I like Saquon Barkley as well, and I like Javorius Allen versus Cleveland. We saw what Marshawn Lynch did to them, and he could have done even more to Cleveland. Because remember, they blew the play dead that shouldn't have been blown dead. But yeah, I mean, your team is looking really good. I will give you the win on this one just because Luck Dynasty is starting Jalen Richard, who barely even gets any playing time for the Raiders. I mean, I don't understand why you would get that. And you already mentioned T.Y. Hilton, who's hurt. I think you have the better of both sides right now.
It's going to come down to his receivers, DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Green. They always find a way to fuck the opposing team. And speaking of his receivers, one more time, let's just give it up for T.Y. Hilton, who will not be showing up this week. I'm also going to go with Luck Dynasty.
Nice. Let me put the pick in. Pick to win. Boop, boop. Done.
Yeah, buddy. All right, next we're going to talk about your matchup. The Zeke Freaks at 2-2. Lost 1 last week. Currently in 8th place. Are going to be going against 2nd place, Gin and Druce. 3-1. Lost their first game last week. By the way, we have no more undefeated teams. All right, so go ahead. Tell me something about Gin and Juice that I don't already know.
Tough matchup, man. First thing you got to know is that he's got Mark Ingram back. Mark Ingram is coming back from suspension, so let's see how New Orleans uses him. It's been the Alvin Kamara show so far. Let's see how they split those touches because Mark Ingram is probably going to see the field. The question is how much. So He already has Todd Gurley. I mean, he's been carrying Todd Gurley just like the Rams all the way through fantasy season so far. So I'm definitely scared of that. Going up against Gurley, that's not cool. I don't like Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree has pretty much been like the third most relevant receiver in the Ravens. John Brown has done a lot better, and Willie Snead has done a lot better. So hopefully the only way that I can win this match is if Mark Ingram and Michael Crabtree and Austin Safarian-Jenkins, who are kind of like players, if they don't show up, I might have a chance to go over Todd Gurley and Drew Brees.
Naheem Hines is an interesting player. We didn't mention him. I didn't mention him when I was talking waivers, but he had a kind of a standout performance last week. No Marlon Mack this game, but playing on a Thursday is a short week. You have any aspirations for Naheem Hines?
He's not. He didn't get that many touches. He did most of his damage through the air on passing that thing. So I think it's all a matter of workflow. Remember that game last week versus Houston went into overtime. It was a crazy game. I'm not expecting this game to be as crazy. This is on the road. Teams will see what he's about now. So I don't expect him to have a 20-point game again. But a double digit would be great for a flex play, and I think he could do that.
On the side of the Zeke freaks, we have Pat Mahomes going up against Jacksonville. You already mentioned this. He's going to get his first true test. We'll be playing at home against Jacksonville. In probably rainy weather at 1 o'clock on Sunday. All of these things are things you should consider. Jacksonville's defense is tough. In any given day, they'll allow 9 points solely off of field goals. Another day, they'll totally shut you out, just like they did to the Jets. So let's see what we got. I'm officially riding Pat Mahomes like a bareback donkey. And Emmanuel Sanders stepping up, the number one receiver, in my opinion, on the Denver Broncos. Alshon Jeffrey, as soon as he came back, he was put to use immediately. Ezekiel Elliott a little banged up, as well as Lamar Miller. So that's something to keep an eye on, but I don't think you have any better options. So you're going to roll with what you have. Is it going to be enough to beat Gin and Druce? I doubt it. I'm going to go with Gin and Druce this week.
All right, I picked myself anyway, so whatever.
You're going to lose.
No, screw that.
All right. So next matchup we got is the Gotham City Rogues against El Papá de Daphne Culo Ancho. I wish I could make these names up, bro.
It says hold my pocket. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm reading hold my pocket.
You read that wrong.
No, I'm reading hold my pocket.
The 3-1 Gotham City Rogues, winner of 3 in a row, currently in 5th place, against the 2-2 hold my pocket, won their last game. I wonder against who. They're currently in 9th place. All right, go ahead. Tell me why Gotham City Rogues is going to win this one.
Why? Because Gotham City Rogues is a better team, 2-time champion. Joel Vasquez, hold my pocket. That team is garbage, man. They had a lucky week last week, against probably the coolest fantasy owner ever. So whatever, man. This is clearly Gotham City Rogues win, and by a lot. It won't even be close. Andy Dalton's going to roast Miami. Calvin Ridley is going to score 4 more touchdowns. Marvin Jones is consistent. Melvin Gordon is going to cook the Raiders, bro. And Dalvin Cook is going to cook the Eagles. Man, it's done, bro. Gotham City Rogues for the win. I'm putting it right now.
Yeah, I want to say before we even get started, I'm going to go with Gotham City Rogues. But let me just talk about some of the highlights over at Hold My Pocket. Deshaun Watson is putting up fantasy numbers even if their team isn't winning. As much as they vaunt the supposed improvement of Dallas's defense, I don't really buy it. They're still shitty Dallas. The Cowgirls, if you will. I'm a New York Giants fan. Mike Evans will not be playing this game. That's a big loss for Hold My Pocket. He did get some good news, though. Le'Veon Bell is supposed to be coming back during Week 7, so he'll have about...
That's great news. 3 weeks down the road.
Yeah, 5 weeks left to play in fantasy. Maybe you can pull off 5 in a row. Who knows? Especially.
Yeah, but it's all relative because when he gets Le'Veon Bell back, he's going to lose James Conner. So for him right now, it's not that big of a difference.
Well, James Conner still putting up points. That's another one of the highlights. Tevin Coleman, I think for the first time, actually the honestly the second time, but it'll feel like the first time. Devontae Freeman is going to be on the field, splitting touches with Tevin Coleman. Yeah, it's just a bad week all around for Hold My Pocket. He's going up against Melvin Gordon. He has Melvin Gordon as backup. Um, I don't know if we're going to call this a committee yet. Austin Eckler. Um, it just seems like a lot of backups on this team. Coleman, Connor, Eckler. You got Grant because Mike Evans isn't there.
It's a bad team. They had a lucky week. That's all. It's a bad team. They probably wouldn't even make the playoffs.
Oh man! Hey!
All right, next matchup is going to be Blessum, currently at 0-4, loser of 4 in a row. But the good news for Blessum is they're not in last place. They seem to put up a lot of points. They just have a lot of tough luck losses where they put up a lot of points, but they lose to a team that just scores more than they do. And the name of the game is to score more points. They're going up against 2-2 Juju Jones, who lost last week after having won 2 in a row. If I'm not mistaken, they are currently in 7th place. I think that Blessum has 0 chance here. And
I mean,
I will
you don't like his team?
No, not really.
You don't like his team?
They put up points, but they just don't do it.
I mean, because Omar likes his team.
Really, nigga?
He always likes his team.
I wasn't following. Omar put Joe Mixon in his starting lineup. I haven't heard that Joe Mixon is coming back. Sammy Watkins is also not supposed to be playing. Hamstring injury. He's probably going to miss this game. Who knows if it's going to be a long-term thing. Levante Davis is out. So that's 3 players right there that are in the projection as providing you points, but they're really not going to play, not realistically. You picked up Frank Gore. I guess you're banking on maybe a touchdown, but he's not getting an amazing amount of yards. Not a good matchup either against Baltimore. You go from New England to Baltimore. If New England handled Miami, Baltimore should smoke them. Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown, those are your 2 best matchups. Everyone who's played against Matt Ryan this year, Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons, has been absolutely lit. The only thing that can slow down Blessum in this particular matchup is if Antonio Brown doesn't catch touchdowns. They could go to Juju Smith-Schuster, who is on the other team, and I'll let you talk about Juju Jones.
Yeah, I don't like this matchup, man, for Blessum. I think he might go 0-5 at the end of the day. I mean, you got Juju Smith-Schuster on the other side versus Atlanta. We've seen that every game versus Atlanta turns into a freaking shootout. And Smith-Schuster is no joke. Greg Kittle, remember I told you I was afraid how the Garoppolo thing was going to affect him? Well, he had his best fantasy week of the season without Garoppolo. Garoppolo likes to sling it a little bit more. C.J. Beathard played it safe. He hit him with an underneath route. He took it to the house. So I like that. Carlos Hyde, we already spoke about him as well. He's the number 1 running back in Cleveland. They're really feeding him the rock, and he's definitely the one that's getting the touchdowns in the goal line. They're not even looking to pass. So I like Carlos Hyde. Julio Jones, great for yards, great for receptions. Not getting that many touchdowns, but you're getting those touchdowns in Carlos Hyde. You might even get him with Cam Newton, who's been rushing the rock at the end zone. So you got 2 end zone people right there running the ball. And Kerryon Johnson from Detroit, he's been a nice surprise, man. He can give you double digits in the flex. So I definitely think that Juju Jones should win this matchup.
Enough said. 0-5 rather for Blessum. All right, the next matchup is the 3-1 motherfucking friend zone. Talk about a tough luck loss. He needed 3 points to win on Monday. He couldn't get past 1 point from one Von Miller, who spent the entire game chasing around Pat Mahomes. 0 sacks.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Donnie, go fuck yourself. Y deja the dick the Dago gave you and everything I told you. Y tú comenzaste a hablar pila mierda, and look what happened. I was drinking. I was good. I was fine. It was Monday. I'm off on Monday. I was not thinking about it. It was only 3 points. Fuck you, motherfucker.
Now, back to our show.
Much like In Golf We Trust, who's owned by Gary. Also 3-1, winner of 2 in a row, currently in 4th place. This is an interesting matchup. So both teams are 3-1. Friend zone, despite having been undefeated until this very last week, they're in sixth place because they don't really score a lot of points. They just have a lot of favorable matchups. And they're going up against In Golf We Trust. Tell me about In Golf We Trust.
In Golf We Trust, it should be called In LA We Trust, or Straight Out of LA, or in, I don't know, but he got Jared Goff, Brandon Cooks, and Robert Woods. I don't know how he ended up with 3 Rams, 3 of the 4 major Rams, because the only one missing right there would be Todd Gurley and Cooper Kupp, so 3 out of the 5. But Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods are ahead of Cooper Kupp on the depth chart. So definitely In Golf We Trust will ride the Rams. The Rams have seemed unstoppable. Now they're going up against Seattle, who we've seen that are not the same defense. The only thing that might be a difference is that this game is at Seattle. And we've seen rivalry games in Seattle, especially Rams in Seattle. When they're in the 12th man hole, whatever you call that shit, they tend to be defensive games, or at least tough physical games. So let's see how they show up in Seattle. But I think it all depends on that. I don't think there's any point in me talking about anybody else in this team, although I love Christian McCaffrey. I have him in a couple other leagues. I think he's going to have a great week. But at the end of the day, those 3 guys are your 3 main producers.
So speaking of sackless, I was talking about the motherfucking friend zone. I expect Matt Ryan to give you a good 24 fantasy points. He's going to be involved in a shootout, as he is every week. I don't buy Jordy Nelson. Stephon Diggs is good, but he's in a not so favorable situation. David Johnson, I still haven't seen the David Johnson that you drafted number 3. It's so bad now that I probably shouldn't be saying this, but Joel Rages is considering trading David Johnson. So if
I'll send him an offer. He looked pretty good last week.
If you got an offer to send him, this is the time. He may be a little desperate.
Pretty good.
I got an offer, but I wasn't ready to part with what I was being asked for. So I will continue to keep my players. Nonetheless, we have some tough matchups here. Ted Ginn Jr. against Washington. Don't like it. Shit. Alex Collins, still I'm not buying on him. I don't think he gets the goal line touchdowns necessarily. That's kind of his thing. He doesn't get touchdowns. Bye weeks kind of messed you up. You lose Allen Robinson the second. Not that it really matters. Picked up Nick Chubb. Don't start him. Paki thinks that's a wise idea. You should probably start Latavius Murray, though. I haven't heard that Dalvin Cook is ready to come back at 100%. So consider that maybe at your flex spot. That's a piece of advice for someone who still thinks that even with Latavius Murray, you're still not going to win this game. I'm going to go with
he doesn't have anybody else to put in the flex spot, so that would make sense.
I'm going to go with In Golf We Trust. All right, next matchup is the...
Yeah, I didn't say it, but I'm also going with In Golf We Trust.
All right. Bringing up the rear, Big Blue legend Darryl is currently at 0-4. Futurely, is that even a word I can say? 0-5. I think I just made up a Guicaism. Futurely is loser of 0-5. Big Blue legend Darryl has lost 4 in a row. They're the 14th best team in a 14-team league, which makes them last place. Going up against the 3-1 Hunt for the Wilder Cup. Hunt for the Wilder Cup has been beasting. After Victor took over a team 2 years ago, he had a not so good year last year. This year with the 13th pick, he's killing. After losing week 1, he's always near the top of the scoring, and I don't think this week will be much different. Winner of 3 in a row, currently in 3rd place. Hunt for the Wilder Cup. Tell me why they win, Paki.
Do I really have to tell you? Because they're playing Big Blue Legendaries. Analysis over. It's surprising for anybody who plays them, man.
Okay.
I'm sorry. But you got Michael Thomas from New Orleans. We already know what he's doing. I'm not going to talk about him every week. But the interesting one is James White. With Rex Burkhead out for the season, James White balled out last week, and I expect him to get a lot of touches moving forward. He's not always going to get those touchdowns like he got them last week, but he will get a lot of touches. On that same aspect, Kareem Hunt, man. Let's see how he faces against Jacksonville, but damn, he looked good last week, bro. So those are the 2 main guys, Michael Thomas and James White, in my opinion, that will make this a matchup for Hunt for the World Cup, an easy matchup for that matter.
Hunt for the Wilder Cup won last week. I think he had 2 empty slots. This week he has a bye week on the tight end. He hasn't filled out his roster at the defensive position. And let me just double check just for shits and giggles. Yeah, he's
I don't know what tight end he's going to put in there, but once he figures it out, he probably wouldn't even need it.
oh man, this guy is shit.
You're looking at Dow's team.
Yeah. What can I highlight here? Odell Beckham against Carolina. Maybe he gets in the end zone. I would hope.
Maybe not.
Kirk Cousins against Philadelphia. I don't think he can put up 40 points, which is probably what you're going to need. Demaryius.
I'm sorry, Dow. You're my boy. But no.
Doesn't score any touchdowns. This guy's named Royce Freeman. He scores touchdowns, but that's all he does. He doesn't get any yards. Philip Lindsay has all of those. Lindsay, I heard, he has more total yards so far than Saquon Barkley, if that matters for anything. Let's not spend too much time here. Whatever. Hunter for the Wilder Cup is going to win this, even if he doesn't play 2 players. He's just doing crazy shit like that, and he still wins. All right. The last matchup. Eat at Gordo Sandwich, currently at 3-1, winner of 2 in a row, first place. Shit, in my wildest dreams, I could have never imagined that Adelie's team would be in first place. I mean, it's only week 5, but hey, something.
I think he's not bad in fantasy. He's not that bad, bro. Come on.
He works the waiver wire really well. I don't know if he just had like shitty picks, kind of middle of the pack, and doesn't get great teams, or if injuries just kind of fuck him up. But I don't think I've ever talked about Adelie being in first place ever.
Well, anyway, not first place, but he's not bad. I mean, he's good, and his team is good, man. I mean,
Adelie, write to us in the comment section. When was the last time you made the playoffs in this league? I'm interested in knowing, just for shits and giggles. I see a lot of Q's next to a lot of the names over on Adelie's team, but I don't think that's going to be anything that's going to stop this team from just romping all over. El Perro del Llano, who is currently 1-3. They got their first win last week. Winner of 1, 12th overall. All right, so Eat at Gordo Sandwich is going to start Aaron Rodgers. That's a no-brainer against Detroit. Divisional matchup. They're just going to put up points on points on points. Throw the defensive books out the window. Nobody's going to play defense in this game. John Brown has consistently shut me up, surprised me over and over again. This 9.85 projection, he's going to go way past that, in my opinion. Way past that, maybe to the tune of like 13 to 15 points. Sterling Shepard, not buying him in the starting lineup, but I'm guessing you probably have a bye week that you're covering for, and therefore he makes it in there. You got, what's his name? Antonio Callaway, who Paki's really big on. And listen, if you're never going to use Dede Westbrook, I'll take him off your hands. All right? That being said, Alvin Kamara is probably the highlight of this team every week. Fuck, I'm still kicking myself, man. I could have had Alvin Kamara. I went with Saquon.
But hold on. Mark Ingram is back. So let's see what happens. I'm going to tell you, every single team in every fantasy league that I have that has Alvin Kamara is either 3-1 or 4-0. So that's the main reason why Ali's undefeated. Ali's undefeated.
Would you put Ingram to take touch away from Kamara? Fuck that.
Would I what?
You wouldn't put Ingram in and ruin the rhythm you have with Kamara. Fuck that. He's gonna come and leave him. So
it's just. I mean, Alvin Kamara should still be the number 1, but Melvin Ingram will get touches because they're milking Alvin Kamara now, but they need him for the playoffs, man. They're not going to keep him at this pace. Sean Payton knows how to handle players. He's not going to keep hitting him like this. He's not.
Whoa. Let's get a pause there for Paki. Anyway, so moving on. Eat at Gordo Sandwich is going to win this one by a landslide. And fuck you, El Perro del Llano, for beating me last week.
Oh, shit. Guicali right away showing up. Fantasy second week. He took over this team. He already took him to a win. So credits on him, man. I think we got to see how Wolf.
Upon lucky. I mean, he made a trade. Good trade. Not faulting you for that. for Giovanni Bernard, who had 2 fucking touchdowns. That's just not going to happen again. I haven't heard anything about Joe Mixon, but this projection of 7.61 fantasy points against Miami is really low. So something's going on there. Either it's his Q next to his name where he didn't practice, and maybe it is Joe Mixon coming back and taking some of the work away. I don't know, but you're not going to get that production from Giovanni Bernard again.
I think it's a Joe Mixon thing, man.
Yeah,
but
once again, fuck you.
But look, you got Will Fuller. Let's see how he comes back. Gio Bernard is another question. Alfred Morris is another question. Matt Breida is still playing. And Amari Cooper, to me, is a question. Amari Cooper, if you look at his week to week, is one big week, one low week. One big week, one low week. He had a big week last week, so he's probably going to get a low week now. Honestly, there's no logical analysis to that, but I don't trust Derek Carr anyways. Derek Carr is not playing the greatest football. So I understand what you're coming from, man. I think Mr. Keko Jones at least should win this, and I'm going to go with him as well.
The only bit of good news for Wicali's team is at least you know where you stand with Leonard Fournette. He's going to be out probably for the rest of the year.
That's not cool.
Probably for the rest of the fantasy year, 1 or 2 weeks at a time.
That sucks. That's the problem with Leonard Fournette. Injury since high school, man. This has been his issue, bro. He can't stay healthy.
Whether it's TJ Yeldon or anybody else, I think that next time you draft Leonard Fournette, you should definitely draft his backup immediately.
Well, he didn't draft Leonard Fournette, so let's cut him some slack.
I'm not talking to Guicaldi. I know that we get about, upwards of 50 views on our videos, so people that aren't in the league are still watching. So if you play fantasy football and you watch this for advice, when you draft Leonard Fournette, whether it's TJ Yeldon or whoever the hell else's backup is called, you draft him on draft night.
It's called a handcuff.
I remember that the day after week 1, the first Tuesday after week 1, all of us rushed to get TJ Yeldon. I don't know how he was still available. How did we ever believe that Leonard Fournette was going to make it through an entire year of football?
I don't know.
All right. O.J. Howard on bye. Not that it matters. He's going to be injured for about 2 to 3 weeks, I believe I heard. Okay. So bye weeks, Bears and Bucks. A lot of fantasy implications there, and particularly with the receivers of the Bucks and with the quarterback of the Bears, who's probably coming off of his best week. Thursday night football is Colts against Pats in New England. Sunday night football, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Houston Texans in Houston. Monday night football is going to be Washington.
That's a garbage game.
Yeah, I don't think I'm watching that. I think there's going to be wrestling on that night. I might watch that. Then we have the Washington Redskins against the New Orleans Saints. Shootout in New Orleans. Let's see if Alex Smith really came to play. That's going to be it for me. I have no idea how long we've been talking, but it was a hell of a show. I liked it. I feel like I learned some stuff. It was informative. I had fun. So on behalf of myself, JJ98, and Daphne Nalgancha.
Yo, stop it with that, bro. Come on, man. Help me out. I'm your co-host. Man, fuck that guy, man. You're going to take Vasquez's side? For real, Jay? You a bandwagoner? Or you're going to tell me you're a Golden State fan now?
Most of the people in this league are our friends, and they provide a lot of content. I think one of the people that's quietly make me laugh as much as I possibly can have to be Joel Vasquez and Joel Reyes. Those dudes are fucking hilarious.
Nah, Joel Vasquez ain't that funny. Speaking of Joel Reyes, I'm gonna be in Dominican Republic for the rest of the week.
Yes.
Food Inc. Saturday, 12 p.m., 1 p.m. Give us out to eat. Anybody that wants to join from the league, you're more than welcome to. We're going to get a little discount thanks to Chef Joel Reyes.
Wow, I don't think you should mention the discount on the podcast.
Bro, I don't care. He's hooking me up, man. Whoever wants to come with me, make him come.
Okay, so Paki's going down there with half of the Crows football team and the League of Haters.
Nah, man, the Crows football team, they broke.
Joel Vasquez, prepare to make a lot of fucking hamburgers. Oh,
That's
Joel
right.
Reyes. My bad, Chef Reyes. Prepare to make a lot of fucking hamburgers. Dago, edit that, please. All right.
All right, man, I'm done for today.
Yes, that's it. Guys, we'll see you next week. Never know how to end the show, so peace.
Peace.
And now a word from our sponsors.
I'ma name Paki Daphne now. Cause a bitch needs a bitch name. I get it now why Jay didn't put him as my rival during rivalry week. It's not a rivalry if you never win, bitch.